Ready for your dead time story? Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
That's a perfect tagline.
It's pretty much on point what I expected from Tales from the Crypt. Welcome to episode 44 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm Kit.
And this week we watched the Tales from the Crypt movie Demon Knight from 1995 with our special returning guest, Shayne Mathis.
Hi, guys.
I was waiting to see how you said hi on this one. I realized that you were on Demons, and now you're on Demon Knight. I feel like next time we're going to have you on like the George Romero Knight Riders.
Oh, God. I would do that.
Just keep it going. Then find something that starts with Riders. So yeah, we have not recorded in like 2 weeks because Kit and I were on vacations together.
Yep. On the beach.
Yeah.
Soaking up rays.
Oh, that would be awesome. I was in Ohio.
Soaking up rays.
Yeah.
I was
like soaking up the fucking 96 degree heat at fucking Trader's World with Caitlin.
I was about to say you guys were on vacation together, hanging 10 and hanging dong.
Yeah, that's the life.
Hanging 10 dongs.
Yes. So I don't remember how to do this because it's been a while.
I think we just scream Mortal Kombat over and over, right?
Yes.
For like an hour.
I immediately, like yesterday when I was like, I'm going to release like Mortal Kombat Annihilation since we haven't dropped anything. I just watched it again and that movie is perfect.
Perfectly bad.
It's so good. I always forget about the animality, and I'm just like, this is the best thing ever filmed.
Pretty cool, huh?
Oh, it's so good. So originally, I think we had said we were going to do Shark Exorcist, and then I texted Kit like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago that before we weren't able to record that week, and it was like, we should just do Demon Knight. And he was like, I'm in. And then yesterday, I was like, Shayne, you love Demon Knight. You should come on.
Hell yeah, I love Demon Knight.
I did as well. I think you said you saw this in the theater.
Oh, yeah, no. I saw this movie in the theater like 4 times, and the only reason I didn't see it more is because my friends started to get mad at me because every time they wanted to do something, I was like, let's go see Demon Knight again.
Sorry, guys. I'm seeing Demon Knight. Demon Knight tonight.
I don't know if you guys have heard of this movie, Demon Knight. We should go see that. I feel like you probably did the same thing for Bordello of Blood.
No, I didn't. I hate Bordello of Blood, actually.
Everybody does. It is terrible, and I feel like at some point we're going to end up doing it on here.
Damn right.
Yeah, I have like the combo DVD that's both movies, and I watched Bordello of Blood like a little while back, and I was like, yeah, this is not good.
Yeah, I hate Dennis Miller, so...
Same.
The only good part is that dude at the end of the bar, whenever Dennis Miller is talking to the bartender, and the guy's like, sex! You talking about sex?
I'd say that, and then just the intro and outro with the Crypt Keeper are the only salvageable parts of that movie.
I guess Corey Feldman's in it, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Which isn't necessarily salvageable.
Yeah, I mean, good point.
So this movie was directed by Ernest Dickerson, who people do not talk about enough. He does, like, I guess currently he just does like a shit ton of TV. Like,
he's directed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he's done like a bunch of like Walking Dead episodes. kind of a lot of stuff like that. He was the cinematographer for Do the Right Thing, which is a great movie.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a few Spike Jonze movies. I think he did Malcolm X, too.
Yeah, and like he did do Malcolm X. He also did, I can't remember if it was like cinematography or directing, but like a bunch of like Bruce Springsteen videos.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which is kind of amazing. But he also directed Surviving the Game, which rules.
Yes.
And Bones, the Snoop Dogg movie.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yes.
Which is also
I forgot
amazing.
about that.
I am probably watching that when we get done tonight.
Yeah, I watched it when it first came out on DVD, but I haven't seen it since then.
I watched it like maybe 2 months ago. I was on Shudder for a little bit. And
Yeah, I watched it like 3 times when it was on Shudder.
I bought it on DVD, so now I'm just gonna watch it like all the time. But he's I don't know, I like him as a director. And then he was on an episode of Postmortem with Mick Garris, and he's just kind of like an interesting dude that I think doesn't really get like the credit he kind of deserves for, especially like cinematography stuff he did. Like Do the Right Thing is excellent. So is Malcolm X. He's just kind of a talented dude. This was written by Ethan Reif, Cyrus Voris, and Mark Bishop. Stars Billy Zane as the Collector, just fucking crushing it. It's fucking so good in this movie.
Yeah, he's like chews so much scenery. It's amazing.
Oh, it's so good. Like when he first starts like splashing that green blood like all over the place, he's like giving a speech and shit. It's so good. I also did not realize he was in Critters.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah, he's apparently in Critters at some point. Also William Sadler as Breaker, who is great in this movie. From Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey as the Reaper.
Isn't he gonna be in the next one too?
Yeah, he's playing the Reaper again, which I am stoked for. I can't wait for that movie. Even if it's just hot garbage, I can't wait to see it. He's also in Freaked and The Mist, which are both good.
Oh, I forgot about Freaked.
Freaked rules, and I've been trying to get it on DVD, and it's so fucking expensive. But I think there's like a Blu-ray release coming out soon, so just wait for that.
Yeah, I mean it's free if you steal it off the internet.
I know, but I like Alex Winter, and like I think he's doing like a specific kind of like really well put together like Blu-ray release, so I'm just gonna end up buying that. It also stars Jada Pinkett Smith as Geraldine from the band Wicked Wisdom.
I was gonna make that joke, but you stole it.
Oh, it's my favorite fucking thing on the planet is the fact that she was in a metal band. I remember seeing like clips of them playing at like Ozfest or some shit, and like Will Smith just standing like in the background. It was so fucking weird. It also has as our Seinfeld connection Tim DeZarn, who plays Homer in this, who, if I remember correctly, is the guy whose car is getting stolen.
Yeah, he pops up as a demon later on in the movie, too.
He's in, like, the Showerhead episode of Seinfeld. And then, John Cassier? I don't know how to pronounce or what his fucking last name is, the voice of the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, I think it's Casser.
Casser, yeah. I should know that. I watched like all of the fucking Tales from the Crypt stuff a while back.
Didn't he do Roger Rabbit's voice too?
Did he?
I feel like he did, because he's a voice actor.
I was like taking notes, and then it got to a point where I was like, I need to watch this movie before, like, because it was coming up to about like 2 hours before we were gonna record.
Yeah,
so I just like didn't get deep into him.
Yeah, I watched it the other day, but I didn't take any notes because I was like, I've seen this movie like 20 times.
This was a movie that like I always liked, and then I just never owned, and it just seems like it was never really streaming on anything. So I finally bought it a while back, and I watched it a couple times since. Tried to watch it the night my fucking house got hit by a tornado. Like I got into where I think like everything starts going down in the hotel, and then my power went out. So this movie was originally intended to be the first part of a trilogy that didn't happen, but sort of eventually happened, where there was going to be a movie called Dead Easy and then a movie called Body Count that were both just abandoned for whatever reasons, and then they did Bordello of Blood, and then kind of didn't really, but sort of made it a trilogy with Ritual, which really isn't like attached at all. I've never
So bad.
Is it? I've never seen Ritual.
It's been a long time, but I remember just being like, Jesus Christ, why? Why am I watching this?
Apparently, From Dusk Till Dawn was also like originally looked at to be the first one instead of Demon Knight.
Oh wow.
Which
I guess that kind of works.
yeah, I could see that like
Yeah, it's got
fitting
the
in.
same kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Sorry,
No, go ahead.
I just remembered this. The Crypt Keeper guy didn't do Roger Rabbit. The guy who did do Roger Rabbit is Charles Fleischer, who's Wally in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The postal guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
There was maybe it was him. CCH Pounder was the person I saw that had like a shit ton of like DC animated movies.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
in
been in,
everything.
yeah, she's been in a shit ton of stuff. She was in Face Off.
Yeah, the best movie of all time. One of the only other trivia thing I wrote down is that apparently like the entire time they were filming, birds were living in the rafters of this place, and so they had to like every time right before they would shoot, they would have to shoot off like blanks to like scare the birds to keep them quiet while they shot.
It was totally Billy Zane shooting the blanks, right? Like he just rushed onto set to get into character. Like,
I hope so. All right, so this movie opens with an extended version of the Tales from the Crypt opening credits, which is always good to see. It's very good, like opening credits on that show.
I'm gonna say the best.
Yes,
Going on a
I
whim.
just love that. Like, even though it's not, but it's shot like it's like a one-shot whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the score, Danny Elfman's score is awesome too.
Yeah, it's real good. You immediately get like what ends up being a movie shoot that the Crypt Keeper is directing, and it's like a woman who just apparently murdered somebody, goes to take a bath, and then this weird creature that like the person she murdered comes out of like a fucking like acid bath or some shit that ends up being John Larroquette.
Oh yeah.
And like the Crypt Keeper loses his mind about his acting and comes out with like a fucking terrible CGI head on top of the puppet body or whatever.
It's so good. What is it that yells at him? You're no gory Cooper.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
so many fucking puns. It's crazy. And you think he says something about like hacking.
Yeah.
Robert Redford.
Yes, Robert Redford's my favorite one. But it's just like a bunch of fucking kind of typical, if you've seen Tales from the Crypt, like nonsense from him. And he introduces the start of the movie of Demon Knight, which starts with William Sadler's character Breaker driving with Billy Zane's character the Collector chasing him. Breaker like stops in the middle of the road, car sideways, starts like shooting at the Collector, and his car catches on fire. Breaker runs out, and then the cars collide and explode. Breaker goes on the run. The entire time, every time I see this, I can't think of anything but the Reaper rap from the Bill and Ted soundtrack. Like every time I see him.
I just want William Sadler while he's running to be like, "Don't underestimate my butt."
Oh fuck! I might need to watch that instead of Bones tonight. Yeah, so this like everything at this kind of like the first 10 minutes is just like whatever until you get to the hotel, It's essentially just like Breaker, like fleeing. You don't know why he's like on the run. He ends up at like a diner, tries to steal a car. Danny, that is Danny, right? Like the little boy from later in the movie?
I think so, yeah.
Like stops him and he goes off running. Comes across Wiley, who takes him to this hotel. At this point, the police have shown up to investigate the car crash. And the collector just like steps out from behind this fucking exploded car, tells the police that he's on the fucking hunt for this thief. They are dumb and just have no real questions for him and just like immediately take him to go find this dude. When Breaker and Wiley arrive at the hotel, you start getting introduced to like everybody in the movie. It's Irene and like Cordelia and Wally. I think that's it. Who's there at the beginning? Eventually, like Roach shows up.
I forgot his name was Roach.
It's so good.
Like the guy from Wings.
Yeah, like Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah.
Who plays pretty good in this movie as like the most unlikable dude in it.
Yeah, he's just a total piece of shit.
Yeah. Breaker rents a room under the name Mr. Smith. And then Geraldine, pronounced like 5 different ways in this movie, is like introduced and has to show Breaker up to his room. They kind of have some like back and forth. And you get some nonsense with like Wally, the postal worker, who got fired for stealing mail and is in love with Cordelia. I think it cuts to like more stuff with the collector and the police, maybe at the diner.
Oh, actually, I think it does. But that reminds me of I don't know. I didn't notice this until I watched it the other night. But yeah, when after Roach comes in and he goes upstairs with Cordelia and they're like gonna have sex. He says like the weirdest. He's going on this like weird fucking tangent, and they're going up the stairs. He's like, "Oh yeah, you wearing those panties that I like?" He's like, "I want to cut him up and save him for later and put him on my salad." Like,
that's so weird. That line, and there's a line right before it, because I think right before he shows up is when like Breaker and Wiley are sitting at the table and Geraldine like gives him food. And Cordelia walks up and sits on the table, and that's when like Irene walks up and she's like, the cat's there too. She's like, "Get that pussy off the table." And Cordelia like gets up and she's like, "I meant the cat."
That was like the easiest, best joke.
It's like extremely like Tales from the Crypt joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, at this point, like Roach has showed up. There's like a bunch of talk, I think, between like Wiley and Breaker. And I think at that point is when like Irene calls the cops about Breaker. Because they're at like the diner, like investigating like somebody trying to break into the car there. And they get a call about some like the stranger showing up at the hotel or whatever. So the cops show up at the hotel with the collector in tow, and Breaker immediately takes Geraldine hostage. And like the collector's like, "Don't worry about it. He's not going to do anything to her." He lets her go, and the cops like handcuff him and shit and search him for the key, which is not on him. Both of these cops are terrible at their jobs. I think like this, like the one goes upstairs to search his room and finds fucking Roach and Cordelia like fucking, and he's got like the fucking car battery like hooked to his nipples and shit.
It was like the weirdest. Yeah, and then he like starts screaming. He's like, "Oh, my nipples are smoking."
Yeah. Oh,
That's the best line delivery of Thomas Hayden Church's career.
I mean, he really sounded upset. Like, I really believe that his nipples were smoking.
It was probably like a
Absolutely
real setup.
convinced.
Like, we need this to be as realistic as possible, so this is going to be a real car battery. The cop, like, that finds them, takes them downstairs, so, like, everybody is now downstairs. They don't find the key, and that's when, like, Wiley speaks up, and he's like, I know where he put the key. Like, I saw him, like, make some kind of weird movement, and it's, like, stashed under the table. So the police grab the key, and as they do, I think, like, one of the cops gets, like, a call about, like, that the car the collector was driving was stolen, and they're gonna take both the collector and Breaker down to their headquarters to, like, question to see what the hell's going on. And as they're walking out, the collector's just like, fuck this, I've had enough, and just punches straight through the fucking cop's head.
That's
so cool.
At that point in the movie, that's like the first time I saw it, that's when I knew this was going to be one of my favorite movies for the rest of my life.
It's so awesome. And I'm like,
That's when you knew you had to go see it every night.
Yeah.
I just like for a solid maybe like a minute and a half, there's like shit going on, and he's just in the background trying to like get it off his hand. And he like punches Breaker in the face with the head on his hand. It's so good. But yeah, like Breaker gets out of his handcuffs, and there's like a fight between him and the collector, and like Breaker eventually gets the key and like holds it up to the collector's face, which causes him to like flee outside. That's when like the whole group kind of like gathers at like a window, and you see the collector starts giving like this fucking awesome speech, and like cuts his hand, and throws this like green blood everywhere, which summons all of these fucking demons.
Can we talk about his like gnarly coke nail that he used to cut his palm open?
Oh, it's so good.
It's like his pinky nail's like 3 inches long.
It looked like one of those like fake monster fingers that you can buy at the dollar store.
It like I like that. He has that, and then like later in the movie, towards the end, he's got that fucking like his one finger turns into like a razor blade or knife or some shit. This movie fucking rules. It's so good.
Do you think that's where they got the idea for Casanova Frankenstein from Mystery Men?
Yes.
He's got his little sharp pinky nail.
Absolutely. That movie is amazing. I watched that for the first time in years, like a couple weeks ago. It's so good.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Still
Mystery Men in so long.
It's like, it's really long. Like, it's a lot longer than like a comedy should be, but it fucking holds up pretty well. It's also probably like the last time Kel from Kenan and Kel has been in any sort of spotlight.
Oh yeah, I think like Dane Cook, he's in it. He's got a cameo. I think that's the only time I've. Yeah, I think that's the only time I've laughed at Dane Cook.
He crushes it as a waffler.
Waffle Man!
Oh fuck! I want to watch like all these movies tonight now. So yeah, like the collector like throws his blood all over the ground and like summons up these fucking rad-looking demons, like fucking green glowing eyes.
Yeah, and all this stuff is awesome too because it's all practical effects.
Yeah.
This is like before digital effects were like affordable, so it's just like dudes in costumes. I mean, it may be women in costumes too, just people in costumes.
I think like the only kind of digital effect throughout the movie is like there's obviously like shit like, you know, like stuff like going on when he has like the flashbacks. But I think it's just like the Crypt Keeper's head on that fucking body at the beginning.
Oh, I thought that was like an animatronic mask or something.
No, it's like it's somebody in a suit, and then they like animated the head like over it.
Oh, I mean, I guess I could see that because Tales from the Crypt is kind of ahead of the curve on digital effects because there is that. I think it won an Emmy or something. There is that episode of the series where they superimposed it's like Humphrey Bogart or somebody into one of the episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the technology that they used in Forrest Gump. That was where it was developed or something. I don't know. I may be making that up, but
I
that
mean,
episode.
like Robert
If
Zemeckis
you did,
is,
that's impressive.
Robert Zemeckis is like a creator or executive producer or something on Tales from the Crypt,
Yeah.
I believe. So that
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
makes sense. So after all these demons are out, you get like kind of like a bunch of havoc ensues, and it's got like Breaker pouring the blood from the key onto like windows and door frames to like start sealing the building. People are kind of running all over the place. Like Roach runs outside with Cordelia following him, and a creature attacks, so he pushes her out in front of him and runs back in the building, and Wally saves her.
What a douche.
Yeah, he's pretty unlikable. It was just like a bunch of shit like happening. It's like at this point you're also introduced to like the idea that you have to shoot these demons in both of their eyes, and it like releases like their souls or some shit. With like I guess that's also a digital effect.
It could be rotoscoped. I don't know if it was digital.
Yeah, that's true.
Like when Billy Zane unzips his fly and there's like all the like hellfire flying out of his dick. I think that was animated.
Yeah, like there's like a behind the scenes, like a 40-minute documentary thing about it that I meant to watch. I just never got around to it. That probably would have shown all that. But like I don't know, like I feel like his fucking dick thing looks like worse than the shit that comes out of the eyes, but it could just be that you get a longer look at like the shit going on with his dick later than you do like all the stuff coming out of the eyes is kind of like a quick like maybe 2 seconds before it cuts to something else.
Yeah, you get a good look at Billy Zane's hellfire dick.
I'm gonna fucking start a band called Billy Zane's Hellfire Dick.
Can that be a like side podcast that we do?
Yes, all we do is talk about that scene with different people. It's just 10-minute episodes. So yeah, like all hell's kind of breaking loose. Eventually, Breaker gets like most of the building, at least the first floor, kind of sealed up with this blood from the key. Him and Roach start arguing because I think at this point the Collector has been like, all I want is the key, I'll let you all go. Breaker's just like, he's lying, he will kill you either way. Goes upstairs to start sealing the upstairs. He goes into one of the rooms and like seals the windows and doors, and like lightning flashes and he sees the cross in the window, which causes him to have like a flashback to technically a point in time that he was not at, which doesn't make any sense to me. Because like, I mean, he's having flashbacks of like the crucifixion of Jesus, which technically he was not part of.
Wasn't that? I thought that those guys, the Protector people, were like Highlanders or something. Like they passed, because when there's the scene where you see where William Sadler takes over for the previous guy, he touches him, and then like William Sadler takes over all his memories. So
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I assume that's where he like remembers that from.
I didn't even like think of it that way. I was just kind of like, how's this dude remember this shit that he wasn't a part of? And then, yeah, I guess that makes sense, because then it happens to Geraldine like later.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. I mean, I've seen the movie like 20 times.
Yeah. My next note was just Roach sucks. I think it's from like when he's like arguing with fucking Wally about Cordelia, when he tells her she's a whore and that she's never gonna have friends or some shit, and it's gross. I think after that is you get like the shit with Geraldine's cat. that like he thinks he's got everything sealed up, and then all of a sudden like the cat shows up and he thinks it's one of the demons. So they go like chasing after it and end up like in the basement and realize there's like a breeze coming in because there's like fucking 8-legged freaks. There's just a fucking mine shaft connected to this hotel. I forget what happens next. Can't read my fucking handwriting.
Isn't that when this is when they find Danny, right?
No,
or is that
not
later?
yet. That's later. So like the next thing is Cordelia is like upstairs crying after Roach fucking slaps her, and the Collector starts talking to her, and like she's sitting there crying, and there's like a hand on her shoulder, and when she turns around it's gone, and like the Collector's talking to her about how she's just looking for like love and can't get it, and like people call her a whore, and that's such a gross word, and like if she lets him in, he could be her like eternal love and fucking whatever. Wally comes up to check on her, and like she is obviously acting different, and like tells Wally that she's in love with him, and they kiss. And then the next thing you hear is like, as everybody's downstairs, and you hear like a scream from upstairs, and they all go up there to see what it was, and Cordelia is now a demon, kills Wally, and like attacks Breaker. The makeup on these fucking like the demons that take over like the people in the hotel is great, especially this
so
one.
Gooey.
Yes, I do like earlier too when the Collector first like brings the demons out of the ground and he kisses the one on the head.
Oh yeah, and there's that like slime.
Yeah, they're like all like covered in some kind of gross shit. It's pretty good. But there's like a fight between like this Cordelia demon and Breaker. She rips off Irene's arm.
Oh, it looks so gnarly too.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Like, it is one of like the better kind of arm breaking or like rip off kind of whatever effects in a movie.
Yeah, 'cause it's not just like, you know, tug and it's pulled off. It's like that horrible kind of wrenching. So it just
yeah, and it's kind of got like
awful.
That effect kind of in like the George Romero Dawn of the Dead, where like the one bite in the neck where it like pulls away.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
the skin kind of like pulls with it. It's pretty good. Breaker eventually kills Cordelia. They all like leave the room, and then you got more of Breaker and Roach arguing. Roach is just consistently being like, why don't we just turn this dude over to this guy outside? He'll let us all go. Because he's a fucking dummy. At this point, everybody in the group except for Breaker decides that they're going to leave through the basement, like opening to the mine shaft. Breaker keeps telling him it's a bad idea, but he's just kind of like unwillingly goes along with them to protect them. As Roach is like hammering on the boards that are blocking this entrance, he has like another flashback of the crucifixion, of like the nails going in, and then you see like one of whoever the guy is originally collecting the blood and putting it in the key. Eventually, like after they break through and go into these mine shafts, Breaker uses the blood to seal the door into the hotel through the mine shaft. As they're walking through this mine shaft, which is like the most claustrophobic mine shaft in fucking movie history, because it's like, it literally just looks like hallways. It doesn't even look like it's like a mine shaft. As they're walking through, like, Geraldine hears something and kind of like breaks off from the group, and this is where she finds Danny, whose parents are in there, which is like Homer and I don't remember who his mom is. I don't know if she has a name, but they're in there and they are now demons. So they grab Danny and the whole group flees back to the hotel, and like the demons can't get in because of the seal that Breaker's put on this entrance. Fucking Roach's stupid ass says something about his pay that I guess he worked for fucking Homer, and like shoots him, and it breaks the seal to this.
Is it what, like, that's for 4 years of minimum wage, you asshole? He yells at him.
Yeah, Homer's a worker, or not Homer. Homer's a boss. Roach is a worker.
Yeah, I'm guessing at the diner.
Yeah, that was the movie's attempt at class consciousness commentary.
This is fucking anti-capitalist stance.
Yeah.
After he so like Roach shoots through and breaks the seal, and the whole group goes like fleeing upstairs, and at this point I think Breaker puts a seal across like along the entire kind of like square thing of like the little walkway up the upstairs, so like technically none of the demons can get up there. And then he has a flashback to what we mentioned earlier, where he gets the key like inherited to him from somebody in like I guess World War I or II. I think
it was World War One.
Yeah, it looks a little bit more like it'd be one, but what the hell? Whose dog is barking?
That's my dog. Squirrels.
Oh, yeah. Paul's here. He hadn't made any noise yet, which is unusual. Breaker, at this point, like, the group demands, like, an explanation, and he kind of explains all this shit and how, like, I don't like there's no like time limit, but just eventually like the stars on his hands will line up a specific way, and I don't know, it's all kind of, maybe Shayne could explain it better because he's seen this movie a bunch. I genuinely don't totally understand it.
Resident Demon Knight expert Shayne.
Yeah, no, I mean that's basically it. It's just when the key gets passed to a new key master or whatever, then the stars are just like a jumble on their palm, and they periodically reshift, and when they shift into a circle, then like you have to fight it's whatever like, Billy Zane guy.
Something like you have to make it till dawn the next night, I guess, essentially. And
yeah, it doesn't really make sense because the collector is always chasing them. But it's just like, I guess when the stars align on your palm, it's basically like, well, I think it's basically like you're going to die, but you have to pass the key off before dawn or something. It's not very well, like, surprisingly, because it's such a well-written film, it doesn't really explain that.
Well, there's also, like, he says something, too, about how, like, he thought it was safe to stay there because there was only the 5 people, and then the 2 cops showed up to make it 7.
Yeah, I don't know. And I was kind of like drifting in and I was like nodding off the last time I was watching it too, so yeah. I probably missed something. Yeah, there's something. Yeah, you're right. It's supposed to be 7 people for each star, and then whoever is left at the end, like after everybody's gets killed, is who the keeper has to pass the key off to or something.
Yeah, it's something crazy like that. Like none of it totally makes sense, but William Sadler is real good at this point.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's a badass.
Yeah, he's him and Billy Zane are both just like crushing it throughout this movie. In just like different ways, where like William Sadler is just kind of like playing this kind of like awesome like tough guy role, and then Billy Zane is just fucking eating all of the scenery all over the place.
Yeah, like we already made it past this part, but I love this scene where he's splashing his blood around and summoning up the demons, and he's like, oh, you like ho dunk, what for, motherfucker?
Like I love
It's like so good.
I love that and the part coming up with like Willie's hallucination where he's like the bartender.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's like yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's just a weird sort of yeah, I don't know what he's supposed to be there, but it's so good.
Yeah, it's like I will get to it. So Breaker kind of explains everything, and at this point, everyone's just kind of like, "Oh, that's like fucked up, a weird story," but we buy it. Roach he like apologizes to him and like goes to shake his hand, and when he does, he like steals the key out of his bag. They all realize that Danny is now like run off somewhere, as they all go to look for him, and you get a scene of Geraldine and the Collector. Like he's, I guess, hitting on her, kind of.
Yeah.
It's all real weird, but it has like that pretty fucking awesome scene of the demons eating Breaker and like ripping his body apart.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was gross.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But basically he's like trying to like control her and tells her to like go steal the key for him. They eventually, I forget who finds Danny in the attic. Maybe Irene, 'cause I know she ends up there at some point, but they find Danny up in the attic reading a Tales from the Crypt comic book. And this is the point where Wiley has his hallucination, which is him in like this kind of fucking tropical bar setting surrounded by topless women.
Yeah, he's like such I don't know. I just want to take a moment to express my love of Dick Miller.
Yes.
Like everything
Yes.
he's in. He's like such a good scummy old man in this.
Yeah. He's pretty great in almost like everything he's in. He's just like a great character actor.
Yeah, I feel like his character is in my headcanon, his character in Demon Knight is the retired version of his character in The Burbs, where he's like the garbage man.
Oh, that makes sense. But yeah, this scene is awesome, and it's got Billy Zane just being fucking over the top as the bartender, like serving him drinks, fucking stupid sunglasses on. At this point, I think this is like Irene and somebody else up in the attic finds all of the stolen mail and a bunch of guns with no ammo and a bunch of grenades that Wally had stashed up there because he was going to go on a postal killing spree at his job. Okay, so yeah. So after that, you get, like, Roach now has the key and kind of, like, interacts with the Collector, and you, before all of that kind of really goes down, you get, like, a quick thing of them kind of talking for a second. It cuts back to Breaker finding Danny and Willie, and Willie is now a demon, and they have a fight that he ends up cutting off Willie's head, but because he hasn't like taken out the eyes, his like headless body is still like fighting him. It's a pretty awesome scene. And I think, is it Danny that picks up the head, or is it Geraldine that like jams it onto the antlers?
It's Danny.
Is it? Yeah, that scene rules. You cut back to Roach talking to the Collector, and like the Collector promises that if he gives him the key and like he'll let him go and all this shit, and he like has him clean up the blood that's sealing his like entrance to upstairs with a fucking sponge that pops out of his mouth. So Roach does that, gives him the key, and goes walking away, and says something about like fuck it, like, I don't care, take over the world, like, whatever. Goes walking away, and as he gets kind of surrounded by this group of demons, the Collector's like, oh, like, I lied, I am gonna kill you, and all the demons just rip him apart. So, R.I.P. Roach, you suck. The Collector, and like followed by a bunch of demons, kind of now gets upstairs and is kind of walking towards where everyone's at, and gets shot in the eye with an arrow. It's pretty fucking awesome. Falls off this fucking balcony, leaving his briefcase with the fucking key upstairs, and like Breaker grabs the case. Him and Geraldine and Danny go all the way up into the attic. Irene has now come down with a fucking chest full of grenades, and her and the cop just fucking blow themselves up and all the demons.
Yeah, that part is awesome.
Super dope.
Yeah, although we skipped over the other favorite scene of mine that involves
Her arm?
CCH Pounder. Yeah, where Billy Zane is tempting her, and she like raises her stump up, and he's like, "Is that a yes?" And she's like, "That's me flipping you off."
God damn it, this movie's awesome.
Yeah, it's so good. Every scene is just a fucking miracle.
Agreed.
It's fucking... God, it's so good. So Breaker and Geraldine and Danny are all upstairs in the attic. The key is, at this point, basically out of blood. So he seals, like, one of the windows. Danny is, like, reading a comic book. Like, one of the faces in it, the eyes come to life or whatever, and it's the Collector. Breaker kind of explains to Geraldine, like, all the shit about the key, and is trying to, like, transfer it to her when Danny becomes a demon and attacks him. All of the stuff that's happening, it cuts back to, like, the comic book, and it's happening in the comic book. Eventually, like, there's a bunch of fighting. Breaker gets kind of mortally wounded, and Geraldine kicks Danny through the sealed window, which just kills him.
He like blows up.
Yeah. So it happens like earlier in the movie too, where one of the demons comes running through one of the sealed doors or whatever, and he like, as he like pushes himself through, it like, I don't know, kind of sort of burns him alive and kind of explodes him, but he doesn't totally explode. It's weird but awesome.
That's how I want to go out.
Same. Breaker's dying, transfers the key to Geraldine. He dies pretty much after transferring it, and the Collector enters the attic looking for her. She is now covered in, I guess, Breaker's blood.
Yeah, it's his blood.
To where he goes to like grab her, and the blood like burns the Collector. So he goes kind of like running off. Eventually, like he's looking for her, and she's hiding in this bathroom, and like she attacks him in the shower to where he's able to like wrap her up in a shower curtain so he doesn't touch the blood. It starts like turns the shower on, so it starts like washing the blood off her and just delivering a bunch of bonkers dialogue. Just fucking overacting like crazy, and it rules. She stabs him in the eye with the key, drinks like the last of the blood that's in this key, and, like holds it in her mouth. He like drags her downstairs, and he's just like delivering all of this fucking crazy dialogue, and like she's not answering. There's like this weird ass fucking dance sequence with him and her.
Yeah, where they're doing the salsa or something.
He's essentially just being like trying to tell her that he's in love with her, and like she's not responding, and like he's just like like we could rule this together, like whatever.
Coming on real strong, Billy Zane.
Well, I mean, he does show you his hellfire dick, so.
Yeah, he seems real. He seems like kind of desperate too. He's like, "Come on,
We've known
you can be my."
I've known you've existed for like 7 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like for a demon prince, he's kind of thirsty.
Yeah, I like the. Oh God.
That meme, like, I showed you my hellfire dick. Please respond.
I just like the line where he's like, "My parents will love you."
I forgot about that.
Eventually, because she's not responding, he like pulls her in, and he's like, "Well, if you won't love me, I'm just gonna take your heart." And he's got this fucking knife finger that pops out, and like right before he can like get at her chest, she spits the blood in his face, which causes him to go into this fucking rad like body melting scene. Like the effect in it is pretty great. It's like equally terrible and equally good at the same time. It's pretty awesome. And then he eventually just like explodes, which somehow explodes the entire hotel.
Oh yeah, he turns into the big like Hellraiser style demon.
Yeah, like it like the blood hits him and he starts kind of like melting down, and I'm guessing is basically melting that like human body part from him to where like the big demon kind of comes out, but then it like explodes.
Yeah, that part ruled.
Yeah, it's great. The next morning, Geraldine collects more of Breaker's blood and gets on a bus and seals the door to the bus. And like as the bus kind of drives along, it goes to stop to pick up this guy who's holding a briefcase that kind of looks around and is like, "I'll wait." So now there's a new collector. I demand a sequel.
One day.
That would be amazing. Yeah, so like the bus takes off and this guy with the briefcase kind of slowly starts walking after it. And the camera like cuts to like a grave on the side of the road, and a hand pops up, pulls a rose from it down into the ground, and it's the Crypt Keeper kind of talking about what happened with Geraldine afterwards. And he has to go to his movie premiere, which is just the movie premiere of him showing up in a limousine and getting his head cut off by a fucking oh fuck, what's the name of that thing? Just lost the name of it. Guillotine.
Guillotine?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then that's pretty much it. And there's like depending on what version you watch, there is a kind of post-credit scene of him introducing what the next movie was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I guess it's not on every version. I guess like like whatever kind of the more recent versions of it, like they cut that out.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, it was in the theatrical version, obviously, and it was on the DVD version I had, which was like the first DVD release of it that came out. So maybe they took it out after that.
Yeah, I'll say it's on the combo DVD I have. I assume maybe like, because I know it's on Blu-ray. Maybe they cut it out of the Blu-ray. But yeah, that's Demon Knight. It is
perfect.
Pretty fucking amazing movie that everybody should watch.
Yeah, I feel like just to touch on this because we didn't really talk about it at all. Like the movie itself is perfect, but also the soundtrack is awesome.
Yeah,
like Demon Knight. Yeah, Demon Knight has one of my favorite soundtracks of the '90s. Like everybody. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people love the Crow soundtrack as far as like cult film soundtracks go, and it's good. But Demon Knight is sweet. Like Demon Knight introduced the world to Filter. Like that. Yeah. Hey man, nice shot. That was on the Demon Knight soundtrack months before the first Filter album came out, so, Short Bus or whatever.
Real quick, I was watching it with like closed captioning on. And like it was trying to do the lyrics to "Hey Man, Nice Shot," but it kept saying like, "Hey you, good luck," instead of "Hey man, nice shot," and I was fucking losing it. But yeah, the soundtrack is fucking pretty great.
And I say, hey man, good luck.
It's like the fucking like when
Super upbeat.
Krusty tells the Red Hot Chili Peppers to like,
What I wanna love and kiss you.
That's much better. And like yeah, back when like I was like when this came out, I was like way into Megadeth, and I loved the Megadeth song that was on this soundtrack.
Yeah, it's all. I don't think there's any original songs, actually, the only Machine Head song I like is, I guess, the original. I think it's original. It's like My Misery. It's the credit sequence song. But yeah, like the Melvin song is awesome. Cemetery Gates, which is the only Pantera song that I enjoy, is on there. Tonight We Murder from Ministry. It's like one of their B-sides from a long time ago. It's like one of my favorite Ministry songs. But yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. It's like it was like during like or like kind of before that like phase where all of those horror movies coming out had like metal soundtracks.
Yeah, this was like before nu metal, because Demon Knight came out at the beginning of 1995, so this is kind of in between the early 90s groove metal, death metal phase, and then it predates nu metal, so it was kind of a weird like throwaway soundtrack, but it's awesome.
Yeah, because like I remember it being like a big thing about the time of like Bride of Chucky and like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, they all had nu metal songs on them.
They all had like Typo Negative. Like every fucking soundtrack had Typo Negative at that point.
Yeah, or I think it was I Know What You Did Last Summer had Orgy on it. The cover, Blue Monday, the New Order cover they did, and that was how they kind of got launched into stardom for 2 albums.
Every movie now somebody should just go back to that and just do like a horror movie now, but just have like a weird 2000s nu metal soundtrack to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Copy the Freddy vs. Jason soundtrack.
Oh shit. I remember sitting in the theater and the fucking Mike Patton Sepultura song came on for that movie. And I was like, this movie is amazing.
Yeah, well, there was the Spawn soundtrack was like that. It was.
Oh hell yeah!
It's way better. The movie fucking sucks, but the soundtrack rules. It was the same guy that produced the Judgment Night soundtrack.
Yeah. I saw something like some news story today where like, because Todd McFarlane's been trying to do like a hard R kind of reboot of Spawn.
That's timely.
I guess like I don't know. Obviously, for numerous reasons, nobody seems to be picking it up. But like, I guess they're looking at crowdfunding, and he wants like $20 million or some shit, which he will get. I mean, he'll get it. Like, if he crowdfunds it, he will probably get that. But I feel like Spawn at this point, it's past its time. You don't need to. Nobody needs that.
Yeah. Is Spawn even still running? Is it still being created?
I think he still does, because I think he still draws and writes all of them. It may not come out like monthly, but I believe he still puts out comics, but I'm not sure.
So basically his release schedule is the same as when he launched Spawn, which it just came out when it came out.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, to be fair, there was a bunch of shit at that time that was kind of like that because they were all too ambitious with.
Oh yeah, no, Image was a shit show.
Yeah. So I guess since we haven't recorded in a couple weeks, there was actually a pretty decent amount of like new stuff that happened, but a lot of it seemed to have happened this week at Comic-Con, which was like the 2 more Halloween movies, which I have mixed feelings about.
Yeah, I don't need that.
I mean, I'm gonna watch them because I've seen all the rest of them, but like, I don't know.
Oh yeah,
like, I do. I'm interested solely for the fact that they are claiming that these will be like the last two for Laurie Strode at least. But
Yeah.
I think I could have been fine with maybe just one more, like cutting out like that middle one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll see him too. I mean, I saw the Paul Rudd one in the theater, so I'll definitely see these. Like I saw the Rob Zombie ones in the theater,
same.
so. But they don't need to exist. I don't know. Whatever. I'll still go see him because I'm a mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not excited, but I'm cautiously optimistic,
Yeah,
at
like,
least, since
I
the
don't-
last one was good.
I don't hate it. I also it's just one of those things where I'm just kind of like, I don't necessarily need this. I'll watch it, but I don't need it.
Yeah.
I think today I saw they have like a release date for the Chris Rock Saw movie, which I am again I don't need, but then Samuel L. Jackson's in it, so now I kind of do need it.
That is the weirdest. That is so bizarre.
I am so
It
fascinated.
rules.
That's one that like I will probably go see in a theater because I'm just like I need to see what it's all about.
I think Nathan, I was introduced to that when you posted about it on Twitter, and I thought it was a joke. Like Chris Rock is producing a Saw reboot, but it's a real thing.
Yeah, like because I think the original post that I saw was like it was a rumor, and then they were like, no, this is a real thing. I was like, this is fucking Jordan Peele unleashed some kind of fucking craziness into the world where now every studio is just like, what African American person can we get to like do a movie? And apparently Chris Rock is doing Saw now. But also like
I'll go.
Like fuck, I can't think of his name. Darren Bozeman.
Oh
Is
yeah,
like directing it, which like he directed like I think 2 and 3 at least, which are relatively good comparatively to the rest of it. So I don't know. I'm fascinated by whatever this is gonna be.
Yeah, I'll see it.
There's also a fucking Attack of the Killer Tomatoes reboot and like getting filmed.
That is extremely weird.
It like
Yes.
if it's so I'm kind of hoping that they take it in more of a Return of the Killer Tomatoes version, because Return is great. Because that's where like you get like the tomatoes have like the faces and the personalities and all that shit. Like Attack is just fucking straight up bad.
Yeah, it's really
But,
boring.
like, Return of the Killer Tomatoes is real good because they're like extremely in on the joke. They kind of made the villains have like character to it, and that's where they introduce like the weird like fuzzy tomato and all that shit.
I forgot about that.
So like if they do that, I'm gonna watch it anyway. But it is such a fucking strange. Like I can't imagine that like bringing that movie to a theater now and being like that and people caring. It's just such a weird idea that I can't imagine like a general populace giving a shit about it.
Yeah.
See what else was there?
Creep Show.
Yes, Creep Show. That's it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that series to start.
Oh, me too.
It looks really good.
I love that
I
they got
was pretty surprised by the trailer.
former WCW World Heavyweight Champion David Arquette in it. It looks fucking good. And there's like a fucking pretty perfect pedigree behind it, so that'll be great. And that's all going to be exclusive to Shudder, so sign up for Shudder and put in promo code IHYS. It won't work, but do it anyway.
But if it does work, please let us know.
Yeah. Because
Maybe if enough people do that, yeah.
I mean, what the
Shudder
hell
will
are
pick
these
you guys
people
up.
doing?
Also, like, Marvel is making a fucking horror movie.
Oh, that Doctor Strange
Yes,
movie?
that has
Scary MCU.
straight up ripping off John Carpenter's title of In the Mouth of Madness. This is going to be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I am 1,000,000% on board with that, and the Blade movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With I can't ever. I don't want to mess his name up.
Mahershala
Mahershala Ali.
Played fucking Cottonmouth and Luke Cage.
Yeah, They're doing that What If series that I'm curious about too.
Well, that's gonna be animated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's gonna be like It's gonna be. I don't know how, but it's supposed to be sort of like it's attached to the MCU, but it's gonna be like an animated, and it's like What If. So I don't know how it's gonna be attached, but I mean, I'm signing up for the fucking stupid Disney app whenever it comes out. So just for all this fucking
I probably
Marvel
will
shit.
too.
That they're gonna have. I think they've already flat out said they're gonna put like all of the Simpsons on there, all that shit. And I mean, I think they put some like insane low price on it. So
like $5 or
I think it's
$6.
$6.
yeah, it's gonna be something like super cheap. And I already like canceled Netflix and like Hulu and all that shit. So fuck it, I'll just sign up for that. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all I really remember. Kit, you got anything you want to shout out? And then Shayne, if you have something you've been like kind of album or movie or whatever you've enjoyed lately you want to shout out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm super late to everything always. So I just finally got around to watching I Think You Should Leave on Netflix.
Oh yeah, that's so good. I just
Oh my
watched it
God.
too.
It's all I've been quoting the past like week,
Yeah.
and luckily it hasn't driven everyone I know insane yet. But
I've heard like nothing but good things about it.
Yeah, you can binge the season or the episodes are 15 minutes, and you can watch all of them in an hour and 45 minutes or something.
Yeah, it seems very like, from what I could tell, like very like Adult Swim weird.
Yeah, it is.
So I would probably be into it. You got something, Shayne?
I saw Crawl this weekend. That was pretty good.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask how that was.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I don't know if I would be like pay $15 to see it in the theater, but I mean it was entertaining. It was very harrowing. I saw Midsummer last week. I would say see that in the theater because it's a beautiful movie. I'm gonna take a moment to give a shout out to The Lock-In, which is a Christian horror movie about a possessed porn magazine that I keep pestering Nathan to watch for this podcast. So you can watch it on YouTube. It is just a total piece of shit. There's a scene where this kid is supposed to be undergoing. He's like fighting with a demon that's trying to take over his body, and another kid just randomly walks into frame and then like stands there for a second, like walks backward, Homer Simpson into the head style. And it's like not part of the movie. He just like walked into the scene while they were filming it. So I'm just going to give a shout out to The Lock-In, and any listeners to I Hope You Suffer should pester Nathan to watch it because it is just a total piece of shit.
I will add that to our list.
that sounds like it would pair super well with The Last Vampire on Earth. It'd be a good doubleheader.
Fuck, I don't know how to top that. Mine is gonna be, I guess, the movie Knife Plus Heart. Which
I haven't seen that.
It's depending on how you feel about Giallo movies is kind of how you're going to like it. It's very like 70s Giallo inspired.
Yeah, I mean I really like Giallos, so I will watch it.
Then. It's fucking really good. I watched it like on a whim. It was like one of the top things that popped up on Shudder the other day, and I was like part of their like kind of Pride Month kind of whatever selection they had going on for I think last month. That is real good. It's kind of about this gay porn like troupe.
That's all you had to say.
Yeah. They're like, it's just like this troupe that just makes all of these like gay porn movies that slowly starts getting killed off by like a typical Giallo like gloved killer. It's really good. So I'm gonna suggest watching that. I don't know what we're going to watch next week because I'm currently.
Shark Exorcist.
Well, I've been in talks with. I'm trying I'd been in talks before we went off on vacations about having the two ladies from the Worst Horror podcast come on. So if they're available, we're gonna do something with them, and if not, we'll do, I don't know, some garbage movie. I really want to do Night of the Dribbler now that I've fucking discovered that.
Oh my god.
I watched the first 20 minutes to see if it was worth doing, and it is absolutely worth doing.
I don't even know what that is.
It is a movie about a losing basketball team that starts getting killed off by a basketball-obsessed killer that has a basketball for a head.
Oh, nice.
It looks straight up garbage, and it's kind of amazing. But I don't know. We'll fucking figure something out. We need to do Shark Exorcist at some point, though, because that movie, I think...
How could we not?
I mean, you watched it already, didn't you?
No,
Oh, you did?
I have not.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I have no idea what to expect.
I think we need to do that and then fucking Velocipaster at some point.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
Yeah, that movie looks fucking terrible. You have not done anything with your podcast in a little bit, have you, Shayne?
No, it's on a hiatus. I have some interviews that I want to set up, but I don't know. It's just now that my day job is heavy metal stuff, I am I don't know. It's harder to motivate myself to do that for free.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, if you would like to listen to a good heavy metal podcast, I produced 165 episodes of Full Metal Hipster, so people can check that out if they would like.
Yeah, there's a lot of pretty fucking good interviews with some pretty good bands on there. So check that out. Listen to Kit's other podcast, fucking Riff Raff or whatever it's called at the moment.
Change names a lot.
Listen to them fucking not know how to pronounce any band names.
Iceland needs to calm down, alright?
If you're looking for a lot of Saint Anger talk, listen to that podcast. Fucking a lot of Mortal Kombat talk for some reason. I just love that it started as the sister podcast for Toilet of Hell, where you guys were actually going to play music, and then it just eventually turned into the regular
we
Toilet.
like to shoot the shit.
It just turned into what the regular
talk a lot.
Toilet of Hell podcast was, of just fucking not playing music.
This past week I introduced Pat, my co-host, to Chuck Mangione. And we both learned what a flumpet was, so...
Yeah, that's all I got. We'll fucking, I don't know, figure out something for next week to watch.
Stay tuned.
Just pick a garbage movie and watch it, and maybe that'll be what we are covering next week. It'll be a lottery or whatever, fucking gamble.
Choose your own adventure.
They just put out an episode where there's just fucking, it's just empty fucking audio, and then you just pretend. All right, I hope you suffer, but why?
But why?
But why?